Yes, indeed, Big Brother Bear here to give you all that you want and what you need. Today, I'm going to give you 3 tips on figuring out how many points, rebounds, blocks, assists you need to have in high school if you want to play at that next level.
Hoop loud.
The first tip I can give you as far as figuring out how many points a game you need to score to get a scholarship at the next level is you have to look at the people that have done it before you. Look at the people that have done it before you at the schools in which they did it. So if you're 6'4" and you want to play at a particular school, look on their roster and then go down and look and see what high schools they went to. Look and see their points per game. Look and see their rebounds per game. Look and see how they did and see if you measure up to that. That's the easiest thing you can do. And if you haven't done that already, then you're not being serious. So number 2, another thing that you definitely need to worry about is this. Even though I said look at their roster and see what they scored in high school, a big thing that people don't think about is the competition. You gotta figure out, is your competition, 30 points a game at a 1A school, then the competition is not very high as compared to a bigger school with better competition. Makes a big difference. So realize that as well. You can't just go out there and say, okay, well, I need a certain amount of points per game because this player has this amount of points. If you're not playing to that caliber, if you're not playing for similar type of competition, right? So what do you do if you don't have that competition? See, that's when you have to make sure you're going to AU tournaments and making sure that you have opportunities outside of your high school to kind of bridge that gap. Because just points per game is not going to translate for you to go over to the next level and get a scholarship and have opportunities to play college basketball. Number 3, and my last one, this is almost a secret. It's one that people don't think about. It's one that I didn't think about when I was in high school, and it's one that you definitely need to consider if you want to play at the next level, and that is this. Realizing that your points per game really don't matter. Your points per game really does not matter. My first college, I played in junior college. It was called Eastern. Back then it was called CEU, College of Eastern Utah. Now it's called like Utah State University Eastern. But anyway, back then in Utah, I played there, and I remember playing against the powerhouse team called CSI, College of Southern Idaho. If you have not heard about this school, then you haven't been paying attention to JUCO, because for the last 10, 15 years, every year, they're always ranked within the top 10. I haven't even looked on the website right now. You can check it out, njcaa.com, and look at the men's basketball schedule, and probably the women's as well, basketball standings. And they're going to be, I guarantee you, and I haven't even looked at this before, I guarantee you they are ranked top 25 for sure, but they may be ranked top 10 because they're normally ranked top 10. Right, so we played those guys that year. Got close to beating them. They normally turn out players to go major Division I school. You had cats that I remember went to St. Bonaventure and Southern California and Kentucky and Kansas and what did Pierre Washington went to? No, his name was Pierre Jackson. Pierre Jackson, CSI. I think he went to Baylor. So they turn out some major Division I prospects at the school. And I remember playing against this team where they were loaded, top to bottom, they were loaded. But there's some guys that never got off the bench. I'm here to tell you that the guys that didn't get off the bench signed to bigger Division I schools than the guys that played all game on my team. And we wasn't a losing team, but we didn't come from a winning pedigree like CSI. If someone says that you went to CSI and JUCO, that's like you saying you went to North Carolina or Kansas. That's like saying you went to a powerhouse school, because you did. So keep that in mind. But I realized in junior college years, if your team is doing well, then you get to do well. If your team is doing well, then everybody's doing well. Winning is a habit, and so is losing. Many coaches will rather take a player off a winning team that scored 5 points a game than a player off a losing team that scored 40 points a game. That's right. They'd rather go after someone that has 5 points a game on a winning team that wins every year. They win championship year after year. A coach would rather go get that person than to get someone that scores 40 points a game and they lose every year. Why? Because winning is a habit. What you do in practice, the different habits you have, all that stuff, the mentality. It's very difficult to teach someone the mentality of winning. It's very difficult. And it's very difficult to unteach someone the mentality of losing, of giving up, of pouting, of complaining, of showing up late, of making excuses. It's hard to reverse someone's thinking on that. You may have seen some people like this. You may have seen some teams that always lose and they're not used to winning and they have a chance to actually win, and when they get that back against the wall, at the last minute, they just bobble and they just give the ball to them. They just say, all right, we're not used to winning, so we want y'all to win. You ever seen that happen before? It's contagious once you have a losing mentality. It's contagious. It sucks the energy out of the team. Then once you establish that you are okay with losing, your teammates start acting like, you know what, I'm okay with losing. And it goes on and on and on. Coaches know this, so that's why they don't recruit losers. They're not mesmerized by whoever has the highest points per game or rebounds per game. Because if your team has a losing mentality, why would I want you? Well, the same thing is to be said in reverse. Once you get a person on your team that's used to going about practice the right way, having the right intensity, having the right positive attitude, has the right habits as far as getting in the gym early, leaving late. Once you have that in the culture and inbred it in someone's head as far as winning, you can't take that out of them. They've already tasted that success of winning. And coaches want that. So before you worry about step one, before you worry about step two, worry about, and this goes a lot about what I said with my previous video, doing whatever your team needs you to do to make the team run more efficiently should be your number one thing you should be worried about. Because if you do that, everybody, if you worry about just getting yours, if you worry about, just scoring the points, just getting the rebounds, just getting the dunks in games, and you're just being selfish because you're just worried about you eating. But you may not be scoring all the points, but if you are doing what your team needs to win and your team actually wins, I'm telling you, there are going to be more scholarship opportunities for those teams that actually have a winning culture and a winning tradition than those that don't, that score more points. So I hope this video gave you some value. I hope that you tuck this away in your pocket and use it in the future. Learn from my mistakes. Learn from the mistakes of those I interview. And be better for it. So as always, whether it's on the court or off, in the classroom or out, graduate at the top of your class. Hoop Loud.